Harrison, you have 1 hour, £10,000, 5 watches, go.
Like now?
Right now.
Like, for...
This second.
Okay, so I've got a couple of ideas for the first couple of diving watches. Problem is the budget, because I quite like expensive stuff. Yeah, and I totally forgot to say, welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. I'm Harrison as always, and today is a watch shopping mission. Not really sure how I feel about it. I'm actually kind of nervous about this one, because the last one we had 25k, but this time we only have 10 grand for the same amount of watches. Right, we've actually just been distracted by the first stop, which is Grand Seiko. It's actually not the first stop, it's technically not even on the list, but I'm just not sure about Grand Seiko divers. I think they're a little bit too dressy for my style. I've actually got a diver on at the moment, and I always put a NATO strap or a rubber strap on them. So it's just a little bit too dressy for me. So let's go to the first stop. So we're actually on Buchanan Street in Glasgow at the moment, and my plan kind of is to work my way from the top and go down to the bottom. So we're gonna hit Amiga on the way back, which is just over here. But the first stop is Breitling. We're actually just about to hit Breitling, it's just over here, but what I'm noticing about Buchanan Street is it's actually becoming a luxury watch hub. You've actually got Tag Heuer just opening up just here. We've arrived at the first stop, which is the Breitling Super Ocean. Now the problem with this watch is that it's actually about 4,300, and this looks a bit big to me. It looks kind of like a 44, and I'm looking for the 42. That's the 44.
That's the 46.
That's 46,
yes.
Right,
Oh,
yeah, and
that's
that's
great.
42.
The back row there, the three on the back are 44.
Right.
The next three and the two at the bottom are 42s.
Okay.
And then that's your 46.
What we like is this one here with the white dial. That looks stunning. How much is it with the rubber strap? Is it 4,100?
Yeah, 4,100 on the rubber strap and then 4,250 on the bracelet.
So the white dial is definitely the one that I'm most attracted to here, but the real problem is the price. I mean, we've only got 10 grand, and to take half of it away on the first purchase, to be fair, it's kind of something I'd do. Now, interestingly enough, they actually had the Super Ocean Heritage and the normal Super Ocean. Super Ocean Heritage, excuse the noise, is a little bit more classy, a little bit more dressy, but not a diving watch to me. I want my diving watch to be rugged and to be functional. But I'm not going to go forward with this. The reason being, you'll find out the reason soon. The problem I've got here, going to the Tudor boutique, is that I kind of want a Tudor Blancpain 41. That comes in at about 3 grand. And I also want an Amiga Seamaster, which comes in at about 6 grand. I've used the budget before I've started. This is the Tudor boutique that we're going into at the moment. And just on that note, remember the Chisholm Hunter stock Tudor. So they've actually got a Blancpain 58 here, Drew, I'm not sure if you recognize that. That is your watch. And they've got the Blancpain 54. But what I'm looking for is the Blancpain 41 Heritage with a new METAS movement, because the new METAS movement for the price is just unbelievable. Literally so many cool models in that Tudor boutique. They actually had the new FXD Alingi edition, which is just, it's insane. On the wrist, it's insane. I managed to get a little phone video. I went for it. I went for the Blancpain 41. Might regret it because I want an Amiga. And now we have the long hike across to Longines. So what we're looking for at the moment is the Longines Hydro Conquest 41 with that ceramic bezel. Comes in pretty comfortably at 41, and it has an in-house movement to Longines. It's the L888 movement. So originally I was going to get the Hydro Conquest, but then I saw a Hydro Conquest GMT. Now this actually had a ton of upgrades to the bracelet, a ton of upgrades to the macro adjustment system. I couldn't say no to it. £2,550 gone. Right, so we've just bought a Longines. We've just bought, we didn't buy a Breitling, we bought a Tudor. And I'm going to Amiga, but I'm hesitant. I mean, you're talking 4 to 6 grand for a Seamaster. I just don't know if I have the budget. The Amiga boutique is just behind us at the moment. We're gonna see if we can find, I don't think we're gonna be able to find one, but let's just have a look. Okay, so there was tons of amazing models because it's Amiga. I did love, as you guys know, the Seamaster, but it's just too expensive. I just can't afford it. So, we've just arrived in the arcade, or at the arcade to the entrance. Chisholm Hunter are directly on Buchanan Street, and they actually do stock, this isn't even a plug, they do stock Panerai. Let's have a look. I don't know what prices exactly they are, but let's have a look. They're too expensive. So, if you want to have a laugh, look at everything I can't afford. We've just arrived at the next stop to find our next diving watch, and the Tudor 41 is about £3,400-ish.
Ish.
And the Longines GMT, Hydro Conquest GMT, is about 2,500. In my mind, I've got about £4 left. Right, so next up is a brand that I don't talk enough about, which has to be the Oris Aquis. But the problem with it is it takes up about £3. And actually the next watch is here as well. See if you crouch down. This, we actually reviewed this a couple of weeks ago. I got the Seiko Snoopy, but these with the Tiffany blue, it's actually called the Midi. It's absolutely stunning. Plus, I think it's within budget. I'm actually gonna go for 2 Seikos, because the good thing about Seiko is you can kind of just mix and match. The next one is the Glacier that's just here. It comes in at 1,160, and it's a sumo version. So we're just sitting in the store at the moment, and the first watch that I actually picked from this store is the Oris Aquis Caliber 400. Now the green has this beautiful sunray pattern through the dial, but the price is pretty hefty. The next one that I chose is the new Seiko 5 Sport 38mm. Now, part of the reason why I chose this is the dial color, but I actually just bought the Snoopy, and it's quite nice to have watches in the collection that aren't just limited edition, but are daily beaters. This model is the Seiko Prospex Save the Ocean Special Edition, and to be honest, it was a total panic buy, but the dial on this model is so incredibly striking. But we'll talk more about that in the conclusion. We're just about to go back to the studio and see if I succeeded the challenge.
Right, this is back in the studio with Harrison, so we're gonna find out what he picked and if he made the challenge. So what's your first watch?
My first watch, obviously, was the Tudor Blancpain Heritage 41 Metas edition. Now, there was a couple of tweaks, a couple of upgrades from my previous Gen 1 Blancpain. You can see it in the lollipop second hand.
Yes.
You can see it in the teeth around the bezel,
Yep.
and you can see it on the crown. This watch has a Metas movement for, I think it's about £3,000. What would it come in at?
This one comes in at £3,630.
Jesus God.
So that's a bit of your budget.
That's a big chunk of the budget gone.
Yes, but it's a good Tudor, good pick, good dive watch. I'm happy with that if you are. So what do you go for next?
So next up, we went into Longines, and normally when you're looking at Longines, if you're looking at divers, you're looking at the Hydro Conquest, right?
Yeah.
But you're looking at the Hydro Conquest, that's your diving watch. It's one of the most popular watches other than the Zulu Time in
Sure.
the Longines range. But when we went into the shop, I know that you were doing some filming, but when we went into the shop, there's another watch that caught my eye,
Yes,
and it was the Longines Hydro Conquest GMT.
that's a beautiful watch.
A diver that can read multiple time zones.
Yeah. You know, and we were saying this in the shop, it really does kind of look like a Rolex.
It does. It's definitely
In a really
taken-
nice way.
Yeah, it's taken
A complimented
inspiration
way.
from Rolex, from the upcoming styles within
Yeah.
the industry, without losing the Longines identity.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, you know, I won't go on too much about it, but you kind of came out under the radar. I didn't even notice it.
Neither did I. So they've released this watch, just for the info for you
Yeah.
guys. They've released this Longines Hydro Conquest GMT, and we've not even got it in Chisholm Hunter yet, and we
Not
stock
yet.
them.
Yeah.
And I've not heard anything about it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one for a review.
Yeah. So that one did come in at 2,550 quid. So
I'm just trying to do the maths in my head. It's not working out.
It's getting there. So what do you go for next?
So next up, we went across to Amiga, realized we couldn't afford anything,
Oh,
then,
yes.
then quickly
Yes.
left Amiga.
Yes.
We went down the arcade, we had a quick little browse of Panerai, couldn't get any Panerai because too expensive. Then went past the Chisholm Hunters, because there's 6 in the arcade, or 5 in the arcade, because they're awesome. And then we stopped at Oris.
Oh, yes.
Oris Caliber 400, green.
Okay.
It comes in at 42.5 or 43.5. I'll need to put it up on the screen at the moment. But it's a little bit more chunky. To be honest, Oris isn't normally the kind of thing I'd go for because of the chunkiness of them.
Sure.
But for a diving watch, you'll struggle to beat them at that price point, especially with the Cal 400 movement.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what do you think it came in at?
I'm going to guess 2,200.
2,950. Almost $3,000, guys. So there's a big chunk there.
I'm going to fail this. This is going to be the first one I've ever failed.
What was your next pick?
The next pick was the Seiko 38. It's called the Midi, or...
Oh
is that
yeah,
the
we
name?
reviewed that recently. It's quite a small Seiko, isn't it?
We did. We reviewed
Yeah.
it recently, and I actually got the kind of Peanuts limited edition
Yes.
version of this watch, but
Yes.
it is the teal orange. By the way, sorry for the socks. I have a blister on my foot, and I'm trying to air it out, and it's really sore.
But I got the teal version because
Yep. That's a nice colour.
sometimes it's better to have a daily beater that you're not worried about. And technically, I bought the peanuts because I didn't want to be worried about it. However, because it's limited edition, I've obviously got that thing in the back of my mind that's like, if you damage this, you're not getting another one because it's probably going to go.
Sure.
So that's why, that's kind of where I was going with
Okay,
that.
I mean, I think that's a great conservative choice. I mean, so, you know, you probably could ballpark this as £300.
That's better
So
for the budget.
You might be saving yourself a little bit here.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your final pick?
So, the Seiko 1968 Save the Ocean edition. It's all to do with Glacier. The dial has this beautiful texture running through it. To be honest, it was a total panic buy because I didn't know what to get. I didn't really know where to turn. I'd spent most of my budget.
You wanted to stay in Seiko.
I wanted to stay in Seiko. Normally, Seiko's a brand that you can get 1, 2, 3,
Sure.
4 and diversify your Seiko collection, which is partially why I love the brand so much. So I thought, why not get another Seiko? Now, I know it was a bit more expensive, but I'm pretty sure it was still within budget. And it had this beautiful textured Glacier dial. And it was discounted at Chisholm Hunter. It has 20% off. So I thought maybe it would work.
Well, I think this is without the discount. It's 1,160.
Okay, so it was 990 with the discount. So what did the challenge come in at? Did I pass the challenge or did I fail?
So, drum roll. You came in at £10,590 without the discount.
So I failed.
You know what? You technically failed, but I mean, I think in the watch world, we all know this. The odd few £100 and £500, we could maybe let it slide.
Even
I would
with
say
the
you're
discount,
like
I
a
failed.
half pass.
Even with the discount, I failed, didn't I?
Yeah, probably.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this Chisholm Hunter video. Please hit that subscribe button if you did, and we'll see you next time.